Same old game. Here's Johnny.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So serious.
Roll out.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the In Session Film Podcast.
Welcome to episode 690 for June 2nd, 2026, and I'm Jada Duran.
And I'm Megan Kearns.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Happy Pride Month.
Yes.
Very exciting. I look forward to watching a bunch of LGBTQ movies this month.
You better.
I have a few downloaded and ready to go for our trip next week to Tennessee.
Nice.
I do remember this is one of my favorite things. We do this trip every other year or so. And the last time we went, I, of course, had a bunch of movies. But one of the movies I had to catch up with, this wasn't LGBTQ, but just in general, I had to watch the Joaquin Phoenix, Ari Aster director. God, what was the name of that movie again?
Oh, Beau is Afraid.
Beau is Afraid. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I had
that locked and
Midsummer on
loaded
my brain for some reason.
Yeah, I know, because I had that movie ready to go. I had missed it earlier in the year, and I was like, "This is a good time to catch up with it." And I remember watching that nearly at midnight. Everyone else in the cabin had gone to bed, but I'm watching that movie, and I'm like, "Man, I don't know if it's because of the high of being on vacation, and it's midnight." You've had a couple of glasses of wine and you're unwinding. And this movie is extremely weird. And as you'll hear in our Boots Riley review this week, I Love Boosters, that's coming out very, very soon. I am a big fan of weird movies. That is a weird movie. And
Sure
I
is.
dug it. I was vibing with it the whole time. I was like,
Nice.
man, I like this a whole lot more than Hereditary. And I just, but again, like it's a movie you can't really recommend to anybody. And I totally get why others hate it, but that's a fond cabin Tennessee memory of mine. So I look forward to experiencing that again with a bunch of movies.
I love that. What do you have? What are you looking forward to watch there?
So the first thing on my list is Dog Day Afternoon.
Ooh, great movie.
Yep. So I have seen that one before, but it's been a while and I just want to catch up with that one once again. So that one is on my list. I'm probably going to also revisit the Jane Schoenbrunn film from a few years ago, just to kind of get in the mood for their new movie coming up soon. So yeah, those are probably my first two priorities, and then we'll see what else comes to mind as well. And I'm
Great
sure
picks.
there's a couple of other 2026 movies I need to catch up with. I tend to get behind at the midway point of the year, so this is a good week for me to catch up with a bunch of stuff.
There's a lot going on.
Yes. So, and I have some screeners. The other big thing this year is that I'm also doing Tribeca.
Yes,
So,
that's right.
In addition to watching the LGBTQ movies that I have on my docket, I will be watching a bunch of Tribeca movies and covering that. So, yeah, I'm going to be
Love
busy. So I'm going to be on vacation, but I'm also going to be watching a lot of movies. And I'm
It's
excited
fun
for
work.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fun work. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Because I don't get to vibe and just chill and watch movies all day. That's not my day to day here. So this will be a time for me to unwind and just unload with me in front of the TV.
Love
I'm
that.
excited for it. All right. So for this week's show, we have a really interesting top 5. We're going to be doing our top 5 secret identity movies with Masters of the Universe hitting theaters this weekend. We thought that would be an appropriate list to do. And we've never actually done that here on the show. So this will be a first. 12, 13 years into this. It's sometimes hard to find new lists to do. But this is one we haven't done. So I'm very excited to dig into that. Before we do, I want to note that I have read all of the Hunger Games books.
Yes.
And we are recording next week's show early. And I just want to put out a fair warning to everyone now. Megan and I are going to talk about the Hunger Games on next week's show, 691. It might seem a little bit random because we're in the middle of June, but we're going to do it. It's going to happen.
Yes, I am so here for it.
Yes, I've revisited that quadrilogy because I guess there's 4 movies, even though there's 3 books. But I have finished the 3 books. I'm ready to dig into that conversation. So I just wanted to put out that warning now. Let's go ahead and jump into what was the conversation, at least in the film space, over the weekend. And that is everyone's obsession with Backrooms.
Yes.
See
I
what
love
did
it.
there?
I
Covering
did. I saw
both of those movies.
the top 2 movies. Top 2 movies. You got it in. I like it.
So I have not seen Obsession. I will let Megan run the conversation when that becomes a part of this. However, I have seen Backrooms. Our review of Backrooms just dropped yesterday as this episode goes live. If people want to go and check that out, I thought Megan and I had a really fun conversation on that film.
We sure did.
Both of these films have absolutely dominated the box office. So as it stands right now, A24's Backrooms sits at $126 million worldwide, 89 of that domestically. The technical opening, the domestic opening, was 81.4 million. That is a record for a domestic opening for A24. The film was made for $10 million. So quite the success story. As for Obsession, that currently sits at $155 million worldwide, $111 million domestically, which is extremely impressive because the opening for that film was only 17.1 domestically. So it has a fair, reasonable opening, still very good, especially for the budget, because I believe the budget for Obsession was less than $1 million. It was around, it's been reported to be around 750 grand, which is insane. That is utterly insane.
Yes.
So even to open at 17 million, that is a huge win, let alone all these weeks later, it is still dominating the box office, now sitting at 155. So both of these films outdoing Mando in its second weekend, I believe it was. And there was a huge, massive drop off. I believe it was upwards of 70%, the drop on Mando. That
Yikes.
film, and we talked about The Mandalorian and Grogu and its box office last week on the show, so we don't have to hit on that too much here. But the TLDR is that it's essentially doing Solo numbers. And when Solo came out, Lucasfilm freaked out. We're no longer doing these spinoffs. They just full stop decided, nope, we're done here. Now, I think it's a bit myopic to put Mando in the same group as that because it's a TV movie. It's a TV movie coming out 3 years after the last episode aired. I do think the conversation around that film needs to simmer just a little bit. I think that we need to bring that down just a little bit. It's still an L for Disney for sure. There's no doubt about that. But it's not like we're talking about one of the major saga films.
Right.
If the Ryan Gosling film fails miserably and has similar numbers, then Star Wars is in an existential crisis. But The Mandalorian and Grogu, I think it's silly to put it on the same level. But still concerning nonetheless. However, Obsession, Backrooms, dominating. Your thoughts, Megan?
So I've said this before. I should give this disclaimer that, and it's one I give quite often, that box office numbers do not connote whether something is high quality or
Absolutely.
what the quality, the
100%.
quality or the craftsmanship or anything of that sort.
Yep.
Having said that, I am not surprised, but utterly elated that 2 horror films are dominating. This is incredible. However, having said that, if you look at film history, if you look at box office history, this should not be that big of a surprise because horror has always been a reliable genre at the box office. And so and it has come in and saved theaters many times. So this shouldn't be a surprise. I do hope that the quote right lessons are learned from this. I'm not. I know. That's too optimistic of me. I know they're not going to be learned, but I hope they are. That audiences are craving original, unique stories. I was going to say stories that are not existing IP, but technically Backrooms is because it's based on existing lore. It's based on a web series, so it is existing, but it's. Having said that, it's still unique. And Obsession is brand new. It's not based on anything else. It's not an adaptation. It's not a sequel. And that's really exciting. And to have I was going to say first-time filmmakers, but that's not technically true because Curry Barker is not a first-time filmmaker. This is his theatrical debut because Milk and Cereal is his first film. But still, it's very exciting. And I think that people should not underestimate horror. They should not be disrespecting horror. We should give it the accolades and the respect it deserves and always has. And I think, if studio execs and if studios want to learn something from this, support filmmakers, support unique filmmakers, support unique stories. And that's what should be happening. Another thing I will say is that, I saw somebody say this on TikTok, someone who is a film critic, and I think that this is very true. But one of the big reasons why Backrooms and Obsession are doing such big numbers, besides great word of mouth, which is great, and this is another reason we need longer theatrical windows, always and forever. But another thing is that these are two movies that many people feel like they can't wait to see. They have to see it because they don't want it spoiled. They don't want to miss out on the conversation. And there's something really palpable about that, you need to see it right away. You want to be a part of what's happening. You want to know what are the secrets about it? What's going on? Why are so many people talking about it? And I think that that's great. And with Obsession specifically, I'm kind of not surprised because, and I said this in our review of it, but when Max Vance Vincent and I talked about it, but when I saw this at, I didn't see this, sorry. I saw it at the Florida Film Festival, but before I went and saw it at the Florida Film Festival, a week earlier, I was at Overlook Film Festival, which is a horror fest in New Orleans. Great film fest. Highly recommend it. Everyone was talking about this film. They were obsessed. They couldn't stop talking about it.
Pun
Every
intended.
single...
Yeah.
What?
Pun intended.
Yeah, I know, right? But I didn't... I was so focused. I was so locked in. I didn't even realize
you were
what
on a
I
roll,
said.
like completely disrupted. But
No,
sometimes
but it
the
was
dad
great.
joke in me just
I
comes
love
out,
it.
and I
No,
can't
you
help
gotta have
it.
a pun. You gotta have a dad
Yeah.
joke. I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
But people could not stop talking about it. Anytime I'd asked, "Oh, what's your favorite film?" or "What's the best film you've seen?" people were talking about this. They were like, there is a performance in it that is an Oscar-worthy performance, talking about Inde Navarrette's performance, which is phenomenal and one of the best of the year. And it is a game-changing performance, and she's incredible and deserves all the accolades she's getting. And so I'm kind of not surprised in a way, but what I am surprised by is that, because I knew horror fans would turn out for this, but it's exciting that I feel like even people who are not the biggest horror fans are flocking to the box office to see this. And I think that's spectacular. I love it. I'm always excited to see that.
And I wanted to ask you about Obsession because I have not seen it. So like you're saying it's not based on anything. It's this new idea. Can you pinpoint exactly what it is about it that is spurring on all this curiosity that's getting people to flock? Is it the filmmaking? Is it the performances? I've heard a lot about the performances. So I don't know if that's what's driving so much of the allure, but I'm curious if is it something beyond the filmmaking that's creating this zeitgeist moment for that movie?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think part of it is the filmmaking. I personally think it's a really incredibly well-made film. But the best thing, and this is what I have said before, and I will say it again, this film hinges completely on Indy Navarrette's performance. The film does not work without her specifically and without her incredibly nuanced, incredibly technically crafted performance. Because she's essentially playing 2 to 3 different characters in a way, without giving spoilers away. They're not delineated characters, but the way the character shifts, and it is her face is very expressive. It is all done technically with shadows and light and with makeup and her facial expressions. There is no CGI with that. There is no one else doing those expressions, because she's been asked in interviews and she's like, no, that's me. She's like, that's my face doing these expressions, and there is no CGI with it. And so she gives such a complex, nuanced, powerhouse performance. And I think it's a performance that when I was at Overlook, it was blowing people away, and it's still blowing people away. That performance is astounding, and it's gotten so much buzz. And I think when people are seeing this movie, it might be like, oh, is it too hyped? Is it, is she really that good? No, she really is. She is incredible. I would love, I know this won't happen, but I would love to see her nominated for Best Actress. I think she deserves it. Absolutely. I think another facet of it, though, is that there is a lot of debate about this movie, about facets of this movie. Whether the protagonist, and to me, I cannot believe this is even a debate, because to me it's so obvious, but is the protagonist, the male protagonist in this, is he a villain or is he a victim? Is he the put upon hero? And to me, it's very obvious. No, he's the villain. He is the villain of the story. He has always been the villain in this story. And watching it a second time, I was even more convinced of that. But I think there's a lot of debate happening within this film. Like, who is the villain? What's going on? Does the film give Indy Navarrette's character enough attention from her perspective? And it doesn't. But I would argue there's a reason for that potentially. So again, I think there are a lot of things to debate about this that I think speak to really visceral issues regarding toxic relationship dynamics, abuse, nice guys, quote unquote nice guys, consent.
It's interesting that's what's spurring on this movie to $155 million.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it. But I think it's also, it's also that it's horror. It's that it's unique. It's her performance. It's the craftsmanship of the filmmaking. But I do think a big part of it is people discussing and wanting to know, and now it's kind of a snowball effect, because people are like, whoa, why is this movie getting so much buzz? Why are so many people talking about it? I have to see it myself. So I think that's a big part of it too.
And that's why I find this conversation so fascinating, because we've seen countless indie horror films come and go over the last decade or so, some of them with very intriguing premises, and none of them have done what Obsession has done.
Right.
That's why I find it so interesting. Backrooms is a lot easier to pinpoint because of the history of the Backrooms and the lore and everything that the internet turned out there.
Right.
And obviously there was a ton of interest in the Backrooms before Kane Parsons even came along, let alone what his shorts did to it. So that's a lot easier to explain.
Yes.
And still fascinating that it has garnered the box office results that it has, and people want to go. And even some of the debate coming out of that film has, I think, made people even more curious to want to go see it. And that, of course, heightens the box office results. Obsession, from what you're describing and from what I've seen on social media, it just feels like it's a bunch of different factors. And it's not necessarily singular factors that we haven't seen in cinema before. There's just this concoction of provocative material and interesting, dramatic complexity at its core, and then you get those performances
Right.
that a lot of people have really hyped up for sure.
Yes.
That it just made for this recipe. That's just so interesting that a lot of other films have not been able to replicate. Even if the quality has been there with a lot of these films,
Yes.
the box office has not followed.
Right. Right.
So, like, what is the difference? Like, it's such an interesting thing to try to pinpoint.
I do think another aspect of it is the marketing. And Mary Beth McAndrews, who is such a great film critic and filmmaker, she has talked about this, about her issues with the marketing, because a lot of the marketing kind of goes, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not quoting her exactly, but it kind of goes against what's actually happening in the film and is kind of counterintuitive to the film. Having said that, though, there's been a massive marketing campaign for it. So I think that's part of it too. So, but I think you're right. I think it is kind of a multi-prong approach as to why it's doing so well. Because you're right. This is not the first indie horror film that has had such quality filmmaking and incredible performances. You know, we have seen many other horror films with this same caliber of performances. But yeah, I think it is kind of all of it all happening at the right time.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And another aspect of it that is curious, because again, I think of the age dynamic at play here, because primarily what's driving a lot of these numbers are the younger demographic, like that 18 to 25. Those are the people going out to see these movies. I do wonder what it says about the future of Hollywood, at least in terms of the near future, when that demographic starts to become one of the key the key target audiences to go to the theaters. What is going to be the nucleus of Hollywood at that point? Is comic book movies going to go by the wayside? Star Wars, they're obviously in disarray. Is this going to be what we see over the next 10 years? And if that is the case, what is going to originate these stories? Is there other creepypasta out there that I'm unaware of that could render $150 million at the box office? Can you find another Obsessions out there? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it feels like this demographic, at least right now, this is what they're interested in. And this is what they want to go see. So how is Hollywood going to tap into that? Unlike you, I am not optimistic that they're going to take the right lessons from this. They are 1,000% not going to take the right lesson. They will take the wrong lessons.
Yeah.
It's already been talked about how there's going to be a sequel to Backrooms.
Yes.
So already they're falling into the formula.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say to that, at least Kane Parsons is interested in staying in this world. So it's not like he's like, nope, that's it, I'm done. And then it's the studio, so at least there's that. I will say another factor too that could be, and probably is a big part of it that we haven't mentioned, is the YouTube factor of it. The fact that both of these filmmakers had followings on YouTube, so and honed their craft that way. So there's that element too, that so many kids, went from a young age, started on YouTube and following creators, and now they're growing up, and so now they're 18 to 25. So it makes sense. So,
well, yeah, and I think what's interesting about that, like, YouTube is just the new iteration of what we used to see in terms of film critics becoming directors, like Francois Truffaut, noted film critic before turning into a director. Jean-Luc Godard is another great example. Peter Bogdanovich. You can talk about, and the list goes on. Paul Schrader started off in film criticism. I think Tarantino did as well. So YouTube is just this era's version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not in that space all that much, when I'm on YouTube, I'm either listening to a podcast or I'm listening to something about sports and getting away from film Twitter nonsense. It's my escape from that. So I know. So the film YouTube space is admittedly a blind spot for me. I don't know who all is on there making, admittedly, could be very interesting shorts or movies or videos that could be the next Obsession Backrooms. I don't know who those directors are.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's plenty. And given the success of what we've seen with Kane Parsons and Curry Barker, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see more of those. And I fully guarantee that the studios are on there searching as we speak. Who are these next people that we can bring in?
I'm sure. But, there's a really interesting thing about that, too, because so many of the images I've seen about, the hot new horror filmmakers, they're all white men. They're all white men. And it's like, we need people of color. Yeah. We need queer people. We need women, way more women. So it's like, what are we doing here? And then also, I've seen some great conversations happening about how YouTube is access in and of itself. Like, not everyone has that access. I think it was the film critic BJ Colangelo who said that, talking about how, there is a barrier, whether it's the algorithm or whether, having the access of resources and time. And so again, there is still a barrier to entry to YouTube, even though it is seen as this great kind of tool of, democracy, as far as like, well, anybody can join and anybody can upload. And that's true, but not everybody has the same resources. So again, that's great that studios are looking for the next great filmmaker on YouTube. But again, it's still going to just, I feel like, be platforming the same people over and over. Yeah. As often happens.
Cinema in a way is, and sorry to take the conversation here, Megan, but this is
no, please.
Where my brain goes. But it is a little similar to hockey in the sense that,
I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah. In the sense that it's expensive. It's expensive. Access can be challenging. It's why there are way more white hockey players than Native or African American, because it is an expensive sport. Yeah. And access to those communities historically has been challenging. Now, the NHL has done a great job in recent years in trying to reach that demographic. And in South Florida, it's fascinating because the rise of the Panthers has sparked a lot of interest in the diversity that lives here.
Oh,
so when
great.
I go to the rink, I am seeing a lot more of that diversity there, which is very exciting. But the film space has a bit of that challenge as well. And there's probably some barrier as far as access to equipment and cameras and things of that nature. Although the iPhone has certainly helped mitigate that a little bit, because you can make some really great things with just an iPhone these days, of course. But, when I look at someone like Curry Barker, and I don't know too much about him, but he grew up in Mobile, Alabama, which not the richest place in the world, let's be honest. But he was able to leave home at 18 to study at the New York Film Academy. Not everyone can just leave home like that.
Right.
And that gives him a little bit of a leg up. And then for Kane Parsons, his father, I think, was like one of the writers for The Big Bang Theory or something to that effect. So he comes from a bit of money and had certainly a lot more access than the average person. Now, all credit to Kane Parsons for taking advantage of that and creating something interesting. I'm not trying to downplay
100%.
what he did with Backrooms. Fantastic stuff. Both of them have shown great promise as directors. But yes, the question is, how do we get access to Black filmmakers, to Native filmmakers, to women filmmakers, to queer filmmakers? That can sometimes be a challenge. And that's where the film space has to try to find solutions. And I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not in the technical world, so I don't know if the Academy or Hollywood is trying to do that, or, these big companies that make cameras and tech equipment and all that sort of stuff, film schools. Like I worked at a film school, not a film school. It was a college in Asbury, Kentucky.
Ooh.
Wilmore, Kentucky, but the name of the school was Asbury. They actually have a really great film program there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they have done a great job of getting, access to a lot of students that otherwise, especially when you're in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, access to that kind of stuff, which is really interesting. So I'm sure there's a bunch of programs out there trying, but no doubt there's a barrier there for sure that has to be bridged.
Absolutely. But something else that's strange is that thinking about this is that, so Jane Schoenbrunn, their film, I Saw the TV Glow, was at A24. And yet when their next film, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, came out, no one wanted it but Mubi. That is mind-blowing to me and really tragic, because here you have a trans non-binary filmmaker who is established. They are an excellent filmmaker, and yet they are not getting the same attention and funding.
I saw the TV Glow
sad.
It is sad. I saw the TV Glow was extremely well reviewed,
Right.
and beloved.
Right.
It made a ton of top 10 lists. It was on my top 10 list. I think you
Mine
had
too.
it on yours. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to me. Now, I have not seen the movie, obviously. What is in the film that would, I don't want to say scare off, but maybe
possibly,
make A24 reserved about, collaborating with Jane Schoenbrunn once again? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's again, I go back to someone like Rada Jude, who has had movies that are that go around the film festival circuit, and then he makes something like Dracula, which ironically I think Mubi is the only one that picked it up. But when you watch it,
Mubi
you're
again.
like, yeah, exactly. And you watch it, and you're like, okay, I see why no one wanted to touch this. And I think it's great. I think it's great, but it's understandable because it's just not marketable. There's no awards potential with it. It's just very strange and out there. And maybe it's less about the quality of the film and just the business. We don't see much value here in terms of how but I don't know how any of that works in terms of the intricate complexities on the inside with A24. And in recent years, they're trying to move beyond just their historical formula, and they're wanting to do more IP. So that it could also just be a priority thing. I don't know.
It could,
but it is concerning. Either way, I agree with you. It's weird. I haven't seen the film, but it is a bit concerning. And you couple that with something that you and I talked about in our I Love Boosters conversation, where you have something like Boots Riley, who is the marketing for that movie.
Yes.
Like Solo, he's the only one doing anything. Is God is another one that just wasn't marketed.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
So it is disheartening that those filmmakers are not being elevated and propped up by anything else. And it's hard to just chalk that up to coincidence or the quality of the movies. Because Is God Is, I think, is really good. Yeah, I Love Boosters, I also really like. But as we talk about in the review, I can understand why that's more divisive. But I don't know. Again, there's a barrier there.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is it there?
Yeah. It just feels I think it just feels really frustrating, because it feels like these studios just want to find the next, hottest, youngest person, which is just, that is great. But what about these other filmmakers? It's really,
well, and Hollywood will chew you up and spit you out with no regard.
Oh
They
boy,
don't
will
care.
it?
They do not care.
No.
And that's what's, again, disheartening with Boots Riley, because this was his first film in 8 years. I know he had the TV series in between there, but his movies haven't made a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I can't imagine financiers are going to look at the numbers of this and go, yeah, sure, we'll back up his next film.
Right.
When other filmmakers, white filmmakers especially, tend to get those second and third chances a lot easier.
Right. Well, that's what's so infuriating is that so often these filmmakers who are white men typically will get, like you said, second and third chances, but also they'll get enormous budgets for their second or third film. And you have more marginalized filmmakers who are still struggling, and there are such huge gaps in their filmography, you know, between one film and the next film. And so I think that's been the pattern for so many years, decades now, where men are getting, specifically white men are getting these chances and getting these budgets that other filmmakers don't. It's just...
Well, and it's exactly why you can't ever blame someone like Chloe Zhao going, Marvel? Yeah.
Right.
Sign me up.
Of
because
course.
that allows her access and money to do the next thing she really wants to do.
Exactly.
So-
exactly.
Yeah, they're never going to say no to that, even though selfishly we may not want them to do those things.
Right, totally. Yeah. I don't want Barry Jenkins to do Lion King, but at the same time, good for you. Get your coin. Do it.
Like, there's a reason, and this is a bit of an iffy comparison, but it makes the point because he's a straight white guy, as far as I know. I think he's a straight white guy. He's definitely white. But Travis Knight... there's a reason he makes Bumblebee and Masters of the Universe, because he has an animated studio he's trying to keep afloat.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's where his passion and his heart is.
Exactly.
But it takes money to do those things.
Yes.
And that's where him as an artist, he's at his best, obviously. Leica is fantastic.
They're incredible.
But sometimes you got to make sacrifices or do other things to make that money. So sure, let's make Masters of the Universe.
Right. Exactly. Yes, totally. I'm never mad when someone is working within the system of capitalism in order to fuel and fund their art that they really want to do. Yeah.
But it is unfortunate. I mean, there's countless Black queer directors, women directors that struggle. You know, like there's 8 years in between every Lynn Ramsey movie, and it's like, can a billionaire please fund her?
I know, right?
I've said this a million times, but Kelly Reichardt would have the money to make a movie every year if I was a billionaire.
Yes,
that's all I would do.
Yes,
is give her and the filmmaker Jane Schoenbrunn. How much money do you need? I will promote this.
You got
it.
Like, my blank check. Here you go.
Check.
You got it.
Absolutely. That's all I would do if I was a billionaire.
Right. I know that. This is the thing. Listen, billionaire. Nobody should be a billionaire. However, having said that, I feel that if you're gonna be rich, shouldn't you be funding the arts? Shouldn't you be funding humanitarian programs and not trying to destroy humanity and the world? It's ridiculous.
I know.
It's so sad.
It's just so funny because we grow up in a world where you see these cartoonish villains on TV and in movies all the time. And forever it was criticized. It was a cliche trope. The mustache twirly villain. It was one of the most criticized things that you could put in a movie. Forever that was indeed the case. But we live in a world. I could never I don't have the conviction to ever criticize a film for having the most mustache cliche villain of all time.
Not anymore.
Because we live in a world where those guys exist in real life. They are the embodiment of the trope.
Yes.
And they don't care. They're literally there petting the cat. They might as well put on the mustache and twirl it up. That is the Ellisons every morning. I'm going to get you, James Bond. That's how David Ellison wakes up every single morning. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was a billionaire, I would not be doing that.
Yeah, no, I love that.
All these filmmakers.
That's right. All these
the moral
filmmakers
of
who
that
deserve
story.
it. Yes, yes. The other thing that I was thinking about too, aside from mustache twirling villains, is that I've seen this conversation for such a long time, for I feel like 2 decades now, where people are like, oh, whenever every year when the numbers come out about the stats for women filmmakers, queer filmmakers, people of color filmmakers, disabled filmmakers, and they're abysmal always, every year. The numbers are appalling. And people are like, well, maybe women just don't want to be filmmakers. And it's like, that's absurd, first of all. And second of all, there is not a lack of women filmmakers, queer filmmakers, people of color filmmakers. It is a matter of access and funding, always and forever. So I hate that they need funding, but this is what we need. We need to fund the arts.
And the people at the top making those decisions, there's usually one type of person they say yes to.
Correct.
And that's not necessarily to mitigate those individual artists, because often they are great.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not trying to undermine King Parsons at all. I really liked what he did with Backrooms.
I loved it. Yeah, no, absolutely. He's a great filmmaker, clearly, and Backrooms is great. Love it.
Fantastic. I'm super thrilled that he got that opportunity. But I do wish that there was more diversity.
Right. 100%. And thinking about his journey, he was signed. He got a studio deal when he was 18. When he was communicating with studios, his parents were on Zoom calls with him because he was right, because he was a minor. Like, it's absurd.
Crazy.
What girl? What teenage girl is getting a deal like that? And it's just anyway.
Yeah. No, you've never heard that story before.
No, no.
Yeah, it's usually the struggle. It's the Lynn Ramsey, Kelly Reichardt thing. Like that's typical. Jane Schoenbrunn most recently.
Yes.
And that's what makes me nervous for the director of Blue Heron. What was her name again?
Oh, Sophie Ramvari.
Sophie Ramvari. Like, is she going to get funding anytime soon?
God, I hope so.
Given the success, at least the critical success. I mean, I can't imagine that's another great movie that didn't have a Backrooms Obsession type success. It's not a horror film. It's a very different type of movie, of course. But, what kind of opportunities are out there?
Absolutely.
Or, you might think of Eva Victor, who had all that success last year. What kind of opportunity what kind of opportunity are they going to get next?
Right.
Are they even going to get an opportunity?
Right. After seeing Sorry Baby, I would give them all the money. Be like, take it. Again, another blank check. Just take all the money,
Exactly. No, 100%.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be fighting and clawing for financing, but it doesn't take, it takes one executive with half a brain to see that movie and go, man, there's real talent behind the camera, on the page, and on the screen there. We need them doing more.
Right.
But
whatever they want to do, give it to them.
Whatever they want to do. Yeah. So again, there's lots of examples we could go down, but all that to say, Obsessions, Backrooms, killing it at the box office.
Yes.
That's all people wanted to talk about.
Yes, and those are great films. So I'm
Yeah.
thrilled. I'm thrilled to see
Yes.
two excellent films, and which they both are, in my opinion.
Indie horror films. It's going to be interesting to see what the next, at least few years. I will say this, we do need to move on, but I'm also curious if Hollywood actually pulls the trigger on anything. And the reason I say that, when Barbenheimer came out, there was all this talk about what toy movies are we going to do? Okay, now we're 3 years removed from that now. It's been more than just a minute. And they announced all these things off the heels of Barbie coming out. And the only thing we have really to show for it is Masters of the Universe coming out this weekend.
Right.
That's it. That's all we've actually manifested out of that. So I bring that up to say there's going to be a lot of talk in the next couple of weeks. What's the next Backrooms? What's the next obsession? And maybe nothing comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's always possible too. They might just get stuck in their ways, find money elsewhere, continue the IP thing, the sequel thing, because that is not going to slow down at all. I just can't fathom that being the case.
It should, but it won't.
It won't.
Not yet.
It won't. Because again, like Spider-Man is going to make money. Avengers is going to make money later on this year. Toy Story 5, and maybe this is our transition to the next thing.
Ooh,
because Toy
nice.
Story 5 is going to make $1 billion. It is. Toy Story 4 made $1 billion. The movie is going to absolutely do gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
So sequels, IP, that's still very much a thing. Even A24 has, again, shifted that way. Again, that's why I go back to maybe they decided not to work with Jane Trumbrun again because they're just prioritizing the IP thing now.
Yeah.
And they're about to spend $100 million on the video game adaptation. I can't recall. I haven't played the game, so that's why I can't recall what it is.
Ooh.
I don't know if did you
What's
hear
the
that?
video
No,
game
see, now I have to-
adaptation? Now I'm in.
now-
I was like,
yeah,
now I'm
I was gonna
intrigued.
say, now I got to look it up. Let's look, because I know their spent Elden Ring is. What
Oh
Elden Ring.
yeah. Oh yes, because that's coming out the end of this year,
Is it?
isn't it? No.
I'm not sure when it's coming. I don't think it's been shot yet.
Okay, maybe I'm jumping ahead. I don't know. Why did I think it was coming out the end of this year? Anyway.
Yeah, all I know is that they're going to spend $100 million. It's their biggest budget yet.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Backrooms, for funding that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I really thought that was already like, yeah, that's already filmed. It's coming.
Yes. So, I mean, maybe you're right. I know that it's on the docket. So
Yes. That's right. It's coming 2028. I thought it was, I don't know why I
Okay.
had in my head it
Yeah.
was coming the end of this year. No, yeah. Alex Garland, it's coming 2028.
Yep.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. So
Yes, you are right.
Yeah. It could just be a priority thing with A24. They might still have a great relationship with Jane Trumbrun for all I know. I really don't have any idea.
No.
But I say all of that to say the IP sequel reboot thing, that's just not going to stop anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Toy Story,
Yes.
let's talk about Taylor Swift, please. Good Lord, people had
Yeah.
opinions on this. This has been something that's been teased for forever.
Yes.
She put something on her website a few months ago and then took it down the same day that the countdown started, which
Yes.
was purposeful. I would imagine that.
I would imagine.
I don't know. That's very strange. Or maybe she jumped the gun on what that whole campaign was supposed to be. I don't know. But then they put up the billboards. Everyone knew what was going to be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
She's, of course, doing an original song for Toy Story 5. Megan, what do you think about this? You have any opinions on Taylor Swift like the rest of this world?
I mean, I love Taylor Swift. I love her music. I think she's an incredible songwriter. I think she's an incredible performer. So I'm excited. I think it's fun. I'm not into all of the lore and all the Easter eggs that she does, but I think that's great. I think that's fun. I know she loves doing it. Obviously, fans, Swifties love analyzing, because I had heard this rumor like a long time ago when people are like, is she going to do a song for Toy Story 5? Clouds. There's a horseshoe necklace, like all of these things. So when I heard it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was not like surprised. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm excited because whenever we get new music from her, I am elated. I do think it's interesting that it's a Toy Story song, and there have been Toy Story songs. Like I think of Jessie's song that just ripped my heart in two. So this could be another wrenching song. I don't know, but I'm excited. And I am tentatively excited to see Toy Story 5 as well. It was kind of a surprise, because sort of not, because of course Disney and Pixar are doing a lot of sequels. But I kind of thought like, oh, Toy Story 4 is it. It's over. This is done. But no, it's not. So I'm tentatively excited. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong opinion. I know that's a hot take. I know it's a hot take because
It shouldn't
everyone's
be, but
got a
it
strong
is.
opinion. You either love this news or you absolutely hate this news. That's all that I've seen. There's been zero in between. I am on an island here. I apologize. I know it's controversial to not be passionate, but I can't muster the energy. And this award season is going to be insane. Now, I think part of
Yes.
my, I don't know if I want to say apathy, but like I like Taylor Swift. I don't love Taylor Swift. I don't listen to Taylor Swift, but I do enjoy a lot of her music. I've seen her in concert once, thanks to my wife. It was a good time. So
That's amazing. I'm so jealous.
like I don't have anything against Taylor Swift. I get that she's everywhere. I understand she's been in the news a lot. She's infiltrated the NFL recently. And she has all of these marketing campaigns where she's doubling up on profits because she's doing her albums in all these different ways. The only reason I know any of this is because it's been forced onto me. Because
Yes.
I'm not looking at any of this. And like I can't be bothered because I don't go out of my way to care about it to the point where it just is in my face all the time. And I feel like that's what's stemming a lot of the negative energy around Taylor Swift is just that she's everywhere and
Yeah.
she's doing all these things and she's doubling up on her albums. I promise you, you can live your life without Taylor Swift overwhelming your feed. You can.
Yes.
And I am living proof of this. I do not listen to her music. It's not a part of my regiment, my musical appetite. I listen to film score almost exclusively. Taylor Swift, to this point,
Ooh.
has not scored a film. If she did, that would be my entry into Taylor Swift being part of my playlist.
Oh, maybe she should film a score now.
I know.
Or score a film.
I'd be interested if she did.
Yeah.
But
that would be
that's all
interesting.
I listen to. I play hockey. I watch a lot of sports. I have playtime with my kids. Taylor Swift is just not a part of my life. So I am not at all overwhelmed by her by any stretch of the imagination, even if my wife is a huge Swiftie and almost
Yeah.
exclusively listens to Taylor Swift.
Yes. I love it.
She loves Taylor, but it just doesn't ever affect me. So like, I promise you it's okay. Like it just, it's fine. It's going to be fine. What I'm most interested in is like what's going to happen at the Oscars. And again, I'm not saying this as far as discourse goes. That's going to be a whole another toxic issue. But is Randy Newman doing a song? One presumes that he is. And if that's the case, are they going to be competing at the Oscars?
Oh.
Is someone else going to be writing an original song? Because like Toy Story historically have done very well at the Oscars with that category.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how that's going to play out. You know, and obviously we don't know who all is on the soundtrack at this point. And anyway, like that's kind of where this most interests me is like, again, in a genuine good faith kind of way.
Right.
Like, does she get the Oscar? Is this where Diane Warren loses her mind? Or is this where she wins the competitive Oscar? Ironically,
No,
she beats
no.
Taylor Swift.
No, Diane Warren's never winning.
No, I know. Just never going to happen.
Although Susan Lucci eventually won an Emmy, so who knows? Maybe it could happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you never know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, you know, you just, you know, you kind of wonder because, you know, they've like Toy Story and their original songs have done fairly well. I don't look forward to the discourse, but I do look forward to the actual race itself.
Listen, I have never liked the discourse around Taylor Swift.
No. Yeah.
Because there are multiple facets to it. One is that whenever there's an audience that's predominantly filled with women and girls, it gets trashed. It gets trashed by mainstream discourse, which always infuriates me. And it's like, it's fine. Let people like what they like. There's nothing wrong with that. However, there's also nothing wrong with critiquing something. That's fair too. Do I wish that Taylor Swift, with all of her money and all of her clout and influence, was more politically vocal? Yes, I do. Do I also understand why she's not? Yes. So, there's that. As not that I need celebrities to be activists, but having said that, you have money, you have a platform, you have an audience, it'd be great if you used it. But I also get why she doesn't. Having said that, though, so much of the conversation around people who dislike her is so rooted in misogyny. It's just gross, because you're right. If you don't like her, you don't like her music, don't listen. It's really that simple.
And that's it. Yeah.
But like those of us who love Taylor Swift, let us love her. Let us like her music.
Yeah. I mean, again, not that this exists on social media. It doesn't. If you want to have a good faith debate,
right?
Great.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really exist online. What you just described there, Megan, it's called nuance. And you don't find that around Taylor Swift anywhere.
No.
Like you just can't find it.
No.
It's such a polarity. Again, you love her or hate her, but I promise you, I am living proof that you can live your life and have no passionate feelings one way or another, because she just does not impact my life at all. At all. Again, I am genuinely curious about the race, though, because Randy Newman tends to have songs on for these films. Famously, Sarah McLachlan did the song for Toy Story 2, where Jessie had that moment.
Yes, that's the one that tore my heart in two.
Absolutely. So is Taylor's song going to be similar? Again, I think there's questions to be asked when you look at it critically, analytically. There's a fascinating conversation to be had there, but you're just never going to find that. People are they're already waiting to hate it. They've never even heard it, but they're waiting to hate it. And on the other side of that coin, there are people also already waiting to love it, even if it's bad. There's just
I'll admit I'm that person, because when I did the drive down back and forth a couple of times, and yes, I did that a couple of times from Boston to Orlando, all I listened to was Taylor Swift. That's it. And it was a delight.
Fair. I mean,
it was the
we
greatest.
all have those artists that we're biased toward, for sure. We all have that. There again, but if anyone's willing to have an actual genuine conversation about this, it's not black and white. It's not.
No.
But that'll be the whole conversation. And that's what's going to drive me crazy. Like, I hate Taylor. I love Taylor. Let's just fight. For why? Why?
Right.
What is even the point? Because you're not going to sway the other person. Let them love it. Let them hate it. Whatever. But I will say this, at Real JD Duran on Twitter, if you want to have a good faith conversation, please at me, because I will have that conversation. I will have that conversation if you want to do it in good faith. But all the bad faith nonsense that's out there, and that's all that you see. Please stop. Please stop.
I hope people do take you up on the good faith debate. I'm very curious about that.
Well, I'll keep you informed if anyone reaches out.
Do.
I'm not optimistic about it, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, Megan, let's talk about coffee. I love coffee. Everyone loves and drinks coffee. You should drink coffee, because it is the best. I operate on it. I cannot survive without it. If you're going to drink coffee, you might as well drink great coffee, because if you are drinking coffee that tastes like mud, what do you do to make it taste better? Well, you got to put in milk and sugar. A lot of people like to put in caramel and chocolate. And before you know it, you're drinking a milkshake for breakfast. Why? Why are you drinking a milkshake for breakfast? You don't need any of that. That's what we love about Coffee Cult, because it is specialty grade coffee. It is high end gourmet coffee. It comes with natural flavors that you can taste. My favorite is the Ethiopian Harar. Harar is coffee that tastes like a blueberry muffin. And you can really taste the strawberry, blueberry, fruity notes in it. It is incredible. And it's also not a coffee that you can get anywhere. You will not find Harar at your grocery store. And not many companies in the U.S. have it. It is a coffee that Coffee Cult has. It's very great. They also have Ethiopia Yirgacheffe as well. That's a little bit different, still kind of on the sweet side. That it's kind of more honey flavored, I would say.
That sounds tasty
really,
too.
really good. Fantastic coffee. Like those, you just can't find those coffees anywhere. Or the Costa Rica coffee that they have. Very few companies in the United States have it. Like, again, we're talking about high-end premium grade coffee, and the natural flavors in them are immense. They're vibrant. They're absolutely fantastic. And you need to go check them out. So go to coffeecult.com, use the code ISF26 at checkout. That'll get you 15% off. Again, that code is ISF26. That'll get you 15% off. The coffee is great. You're going to love it. I promise. Go check it out. And we thank Coffee Cult for their support. All right, Megan, let's talk about merch and T-shirts. We have some great T-shirt designs. I am due for another one. The last one that we did was for our Amaze, Amaze, Amaze shirt.
Still my favorite.
I love that design. That's going to be the next one that I have or that I want to get. But we also have a Few Small Bears T-shirt. For those that love that movie, we have a 28 years later design. We have I Could Use a Boost design up on our store. That's actually one of our most popular designs from the Wild Robot.
That one's great.
There's one for Sinners. We got all kinds of movie inspired ones. There's also in session film ones. Obviously, like tonight, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm just wearing like a normal in session film branded one, and there's several of those available as well. There's Chasing the Gold, Women in Session, lots of in session film inspired designs on there as well. And if you want to support the show that way, there are a couple of ways to check out the designs that we have. You can go to the website, insessionfilm.com/store. There I have all the designs available there for you to check out, or you can go directly to the source because we host everything through Dashery. InSessionFilm.dashery.com. Go directly there. You'll see all the designs. Pick one you like, and it's super simple, very easy. So InSessionFilm.com/store or InSessionFilm.dashery.com. Of course, the links are in the description of the episode. Go get yourself a T-shirt, and we appreciate everyone that supports the show. All right, let's go ahead and transition to our top 5 this week. We're talking about top 5 secret identity movies. Masters of the Universe coming out this week, and that is the inspiration here. I did not really grow up with Masters of the Universe. This is going to be a unique experience for me. Unfortunately, I will not be on the review because, as I noted at the top of the show, I'm going to be on vacation watching Dog Day Afternoon. So someone else on the team is going to be filling in for me. I do look forward to hearing that conversation. But with that as our inspiration, secret identities, Megan, did you have any criteria for your list before we dig in?
I did have criteria. So I was I am a huge fan of He-Man when I was a kid. And so my criteria was no spy films because so many secret identity films revolve around spies, but mine was nope, not spy films because I wanted it to be different, kind of more in the vein of the He-Man dual identity going on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Situation.
Yeah. So for my criteria, I didn't remove spy films, but I didn't generally go toward them. I do have one on my list though,
Ooh.
but I went with it because it comes from a very specific angle that I'll get to on my list. Generally, the big thing for me is that I did not include superhero movies here
Oh,
as
same.
a secret
Same.
identity. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's a whole other list that we've
Right.
talked about a lot over the years.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that though, because I did kind of on my first round of a list, I did have a superhero movie, and then I was like, but wait, where do I stop at the superhero? So it was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
kind of
'cause-
eliminated that too.
Yeah. Because look, I would love to talk about Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker. Those are great characters. I did grow up with them
Yeah.
and I do love them. But yeah, superhero movies just feel like its own box, its own list. And of course, we've talked about them a lot over the years. So I wanted to focus this list closer to, as you noted, the spirit of Masters of the Universe, even though I haven't seen it, but from my general understanding,
Yeah.
I tried to veer in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay, with that
Although he
said.
is kind of a superhero, so I feel like superheroes would have made sense, but it's funny
Okay.
that we both kind of eliminated that
Yeah, I
from
just
our
wanted
list
to
for the
avoid
similar
that.
reasons.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, wanted to focus on other things here.
Yep.
Okay, with that said, what do you got at number 5?
My number 5. I don't know. I don't know why I find this so amusing, but my number 5 film is a film that I have loved my entire life. It is just an utter delight to me. It is the double twins switching places, but probably not the film you think. It is The Parent Trap, but not the Lindsay Lohan one. It is the 1961 Haley Mills The Parent Trap,
Gotcha.
which
Okay.
is a film that is so silly and so ridiculous, and yet I absolutely adore it. Probably a big part because Maureen O'Hara is in it, and she's incredible always. But I love Haley Mills. I loved her run in Disney films, and this is a film I would watch probably weekly, and I just adored it. From everything from their immediate fighting at camp to then having the epiphany like, oh my God, I have the same mother. No, I have the same mother. What? And then cutting hair. So they both have short hair, and then switching places at camp to go home, going to Boston with mom and then going to California with dad so they get to meet, and then them talking on the phone and having to hide who they are, and then reuniting and then trying to get their parents together. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous. I love it. It's a film I just love.
Yeah, this is a blind spot for me. I have
Ooh.
seen the Lindsay Lohan film, of course, but yeah, I do need to catch up with this one. Unfortunately, I cannot add too much to the conversation, but yeah, it sounds fascinating. I do like the premise. It's always, it's a fascinating premise for sure.
Right.
Definitely one I need to catch up with though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't,
that's
it's funny. I haven't seen the Lindsay Lohan one, so I don't know how drastically different they are, but I think Haley Mills has great charisma. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah. And
Yeah.
Maureen O'Hara is incredible. So,
Yeah,
There's
that would
that.
be an interesting exercise for us to watch the other one
yes.
and then come back and report what those differences may be, because we don't
Yeah.
have any idea what the other one is doing
I know. Right?
outside of the fundamental idea. at
Of
play,
course.
but yeah, that's interesting. All right, my number 5, I'm going to the world of Billy Wilder. Some Like It Hot is my number
nice.
5 here. This, of course, is Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon as Joe and Jerry, who take on these new identities after witnessing a mob hit, thrusting us into one of the most famous disguise movies we've ever seen, as the film explores how identity can be both protective and liberating, allowing the characters to experience the world in these unexpected ways. It's often very funny. There's some interesting tension throughout the film as well. The characters form these genuine relationships that deconstruct certain tropes that, especially at the time, would have been quite provocative. But it's all coming through this comedic lens that makes the film extremely diverting as well. Dramatically speaking, I will admit there are some major contrivances, especially toward the end of the film, but who cares? Because again, the film is a ton of fun. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon are really great. Marilyn Monroe is very good in a supporting role. And yeah, I mean, talk about the gold standard for comedy. This is really fantastic. And I love how this is secret identity as disguise, deconstructing certain tropes and cultural ideas. Really great film. I love it. So I'm like it hot. My number 5.
I love that you picked that. It's also, first of all, I am ashamed to say I have not seen it. So I need to see it because I love Marilyn Monroe. She's an incredible actor. And I think it's appropriate because it's the anniversary of her 100th birthday. So, and there's, and there's the Marilyn Monroe exhibit that just opened at the Academy Museum. There's another Marilyn Monroe exhibit in Paris. So it's perfect timing. And we've done Marilyn Monroe on Women in Session. Yep. We've done a couple episodes. So yeah, no, this is great. And she had such impeccable comedic timing. She was a great dramatic actress too. She's spectacular. And Billy Wilder, great filmmaker. I've seen many of his other films, but I need to see Something Like It Hot.
You will love this. I think.
I have a feeling. Yeah. Because I love her. I love him. I feel like I'm going to love it. Yeah.
Off mic, we talked a little bit about how we're not the biggest fans of awkward comedy. Admittedly, that is a little bit of this film, but
oh no,
Billy Wilder handles it with great diligence, though.
Okay.
Because again, inside of that, it's that deconstructionist cipher that he is playing with, and the castles he's building in his sandbox, as a result, are pretty striking. And yeah, it's good. It's real good. I think you'll like it a lot. And Marilyn Monroe is fantastic. She's very good.
She's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good film.
Jack Lemmon's great too. I was like, they're all great.
Yeah, all great. All right. What do you have at number 4?
Okay. My number 4 is 2005, David Cronenberg, History of Violence, starring Viggo Mortensen, Maria Bello.
Yeah.
And this is a film that left a mark on me a long, long time ago, and I think it is so spectacular. David Cronenberg is an incredible filmmaker. That's kind of an understatement. And Viggo Mortensen is a fantastic actor. I love him in pretty much everything he's in. And this is such a great film about a man who has a family. He's leading kind of a quiet life in a town, and kind of unassuming, until someone comes into town and claims that he's really a mobster and that he's from this crime family, and which he denies. And then things happen and things ensue. And so it is very much a film about identity, about leaving elements of your life behind, and can you ever really leave them behind, and can you ever really change your fate and the nature of your life. And I think there's so many really incredible and compelling concepts in this, as well as great acting, great charisma between Viggo Mortensen and Maria Bello, and just a spectacular film.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is a great honorable mention. I heavily consider this as well. I don't really have too much to add. I think you absolutely nailed it. I do love how the film toys with secret identities here, and especially because of those performances. They really make that work in terms of tapping into the motives behind it all.
Yes.
It's great. No, I completely agree. Love that pick.
Yay.
All right, my number 4. Let's talk a little Spielberg.
Ooh,
let's
do it.
Catch Me If You Can.
Nice.
That is my number 4 here. And man, this is a really fun movie. And what's great about this film is that Frank builds an entire life through a series of fabricated identities, impersonating pilots and doctors and lawyers and like all these personalities. And this is secret identity as performance. right? Where it is asking how much of who we are is determined by what others believe and what we can get others to believe about us. So much of this film hinges on Frank convincing people that he is someone he is not. So the cat and mouse dynamic that unfolds throughout the film, it's riveting because Frank is constantly reinventing himself, which causes some internal conflict, of course. It spurs on a ton of external conflict, and it creates this great polarity that Spielberg is just the master at reveling in with his filmmaking, because the film is very, very fun and entertaining, but so much of it is fundamentally built around deception. And that can often make us feel a certain way about Frank and these characters and the entanglement that they find themselves in, because there are obviously consequences to his actions. And the way Spielberg examines all of that here, it's incredible. Yeah. One of my favorite films of 2002, I think, when that film came out. Great stuff. Spielberg is just unmatched. He's one of my absolute favorites. So my number 4 here.
I feel like there's going to be a theme, a trend here. I also have not seen Catch Me If You Can.
What? You have not seen Catch Me
I
If You
know.
Can?
I know. And I say this as someone
Come
who
on.
loves Spielberg.
Yes.
I don't know how. It's just one of those films that I'm always like, yeah, I got to watch that. I got to watch that. And then it just gets pushed to the back burner and I watch other things. So,
Fair
but
enough.
it is one I
It's
want to
so
see.
good, though. It's so good. Again,
I'm
I
not
think you'll really
surprised.
like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I love Tom Hanks. Leonardo DiCaprio is great. And I love Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg. So, yeah.
And Christopher Walken is maybe the MVP of that movie.
Wait,
as much as
really?
I love DiCaprio and
interesting.
Hanks. Yes. Yes. Because he plays Frank's father,
Oh,
DiCaprio's
okay.
father. And there's a scene near the end of that film that is genuinely heartbreaking. It's some of his very best
Ooh.
work.
Okay.
It's really, really great. Amy Adams is also really strong, maybe pun intended, because I believe the character's name is Brenda Strong.
Strong.
But she's
Nice.
also fantastic in her small little role in that
Nice.
film too.
I'm not surprised. Actually, I feel like Christopher Walken, for so long, people have just thought of him as kind of, eccentric and comedy, just comedic. But one of the first roles I ever saw Christopher Walken in was I think it was a TV movie with Susan Sarandon, Who Am I This Time? And it's an incredible movie, and he is so tender and kind of heartbreaking in it. So I'm not surprised. But now you have sold me on it, where now I think I will bump it
Gotta
up
see it.
into my
it.
queue.
Yeah. Good to hear. All right, number 3. What do you got at number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is a Hitchcock film going to 1958, Vertigo.
Oh man. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Let's
So
talk about it.
I love it. So Vertigo, I hadn't seen until just a few years ago, surprisingly. I've seen a
okay.
lot of Hitchcock films from an early age, but not that one. And my first time watching it was on the big screen in a theater, which was incredible. 70 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was a 70 millimeter film fest, and it was gorgeous. I mean, that is an understatement, because the cinematography, the colors, the costuming, all of it is it's stunning.
Yes.
If there's one thing Alfred Hitchcock does incredibly well, it's visuals. But what I was so pleasantly surprised to see is, this is a movie, of course, I'm not going to say anything really revelatory here, but this is a movie about obsession and being fixated to your detriment and to the detriment of everyone around you. And so seeing Jimmy Stewart, Scotty, having this breakdown, and because witnessing a colleague die right in the opening of the film, and then he has acrophobia and vertigo, and then he starts on an assignment following this wife of this man who's hired him, because this guy thinks his wife is cheating on him, and then he becomes obsessed with her, and then you know, just watching that and seeing Kim Novak's performance, which is incredible, and seeing that, witnessing Scotty having his life unravel, the more obsessed he becomes with Kim Novak's Madeline, and seeing how toxic he becomes and abusive, it was startling. And so this is a film that is gorgeous to look at, incredible performances, and also just such a scathing exploration of obsession and toxicity and control.
I'll just go ahead and reveal this now. This is my number one on my list. So we do cross over. We share this one. I'm totally there with you. I've always been a big fan of this film, but some years ago, Brennan and I revisited Vertigo for a review we did here on the show. And I could not believe how well this film has aged.
Yes.
It is phenomenal. I think it's not just Hitchcock's best film. I think it's simply one of the best movies ever made. I know that's maybe a bit of a hot take to say. Forgive me for the controversy, but I really do believe it is one of the best ever made. And it's aged like fine wine given where we live now for all the reasons you talked about. What makes the secret identity so ravishing in this film is how it taps into the film's fundamental ideas around Scotty, the James Stewart character, falling in love with not just a woman, but an idea. He falls in love with a fantasy, an embodiment of what he perceives as this perfect woman. He has a vision of Madeline that he idolizes, and throughout the film, he tries to mold and knead this fantasy, one that he, of course, pursues to dangerous lengths. And there are deadly consequences to the false reality that he helped create. And it's fascinating to see that as we find out the truth about Madeline, Scotty's reaction to it doesn't evolve with the facts. It doesn't evolve with the truth. And yeah, to your point, I think the film has a lot to say about the cost of complying with obsession, which is, you know, we see in heavy ways during the final moments of the film, but also it's in how Scotty becomes controlling of another individual, how he becomes emotionally manipulative, how his fantasy becomes his reality. So this is secret identity as illusion, and it comes through so powerfully because of how the film is built around that secret identity and how that unfolds. And when you think about that through the prism of how people, men especially, operate today, especially through online mechanisms, I mean, it's something we see in the news all the time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty devastating, and it's scary, and it's what makes that film so profound in a lot of ways. Like Hitchcock is tapping into something almost barbaric that is innate to human behavior that just seemingly will never change. Technology might create new mechanisms for more Scotties to engage in that behavior. But perhaps vertigo is something that is just innate to humanity, for better or worse. For worse. But it's what makes that film so incredible. And yeah, definitely for worse. And it's what makes that, you know, you couple that with the cinematography and the score and everything. It's just, it's a masterful movie. So yeah, that was easily my number one when thinking about this. I love that movie a lot.
It's so good. It's an incredible film. And it's funny. It's funny that you're talking about how it hasn't aged, or it's aged so well, because and I'm not saying this is the same quality by any means, but it is so fascinating to talk about this, especially when earlier we were talking about Backrooms and Obsession, and Obsession is dealing with so many of the same themes about, you know, being fixated and loving an idea, a fantasy, rather than the reality, and infringing on someone's agency and all of these, you know, toxic behaviors. And so it is that there is a real core truth to that film that Vertigo was already locked into decades ago. But you're right. It's just it is an incredibly well crafted film. It really is a masterpiece. It really is one of the greatest films of all time. Yeah, it really is. I mean, that it feels sometimes hyperbolic to say, but it really is true. It's an incredible film.
Yeah, just scary how well it plays today.
I know.
We see it.
That's what I was not expect. I was expecting to be awed by the visuals and the score and the performances like that. I was expecting technical mastery. I was not expecting how chilling the themes are. Yeah.
It's honestly one of his most frightening movies, which is maybe a bit ironic because it's not an outright horror film like some of his other classics, but it is absolutely frightening. It's almost like he made the movie knowing what the future would become. Right. Yeah, it's wild. Great movie. I'll quickly get to my number 3 real quick, as this was your number 3. So I've already talked about Secret Identity as disguise, as performance, as illusion. For my number 3, I'm going to be talking about Secret Identity as a way of survival. Let's talk about Mulan. I know you've seen this one.
Yes.
Let's talk about Mulan.
Mulan was my runner-up.
Yeah. So this might be a genuine hot take. I've joked a couple of times already about, my quote unquote hot takes. This one might stir some people the wrong way, but I genuinely believe this is top 5 Disney. And I think it's phenomenal. And obviously the secret identity here is fairly obvious. Mulan disguising herself as her father, so he doesn't go into the army, essentially committing suicide because he's old and he's got an injured leg already. And if he's forced into the army, there's no way he's going to come out of it alive. So she takes it upon herself to create this secret identity as a man to go into the army. And I say this, that sequence when she makes that decision and the score kicks in there and you get the reflection on the sword, hair raising. It is incredible. It's one of my favorite sequences in all of Disney. It truly is phenomenal filmmaking. Absolutely love it. Like stunning animation, and like I love the emotional stakes of the film. It has some of my favorite supporting characters as well, because you always get those silly Disney side characters, and Mulan has some of my absolute favorites in terms of that as well. But as it relates to secret identity, I just love how all of that comes to a head and how she proves value to being Mulan by the end. And so, yeah, I just think it's one of Disney's strongest examples of identity as a thematic centerpiece. And of course, it's all wrapped around the secret identity she has as her father. So I love it. My number 3 here.
That's a beautiful film. I love it too. I love the music. When Will My Reflection Show Who I Am This Time is a stunning
So good.
lyric. It's incredible. It's a great song. I love that there's so much to explore here with identity, also gender,
Gender.
duty,
Duty.
absolutely. I listen quite frequently, just randomly, and I can thank TikTok for this, for the earworm that is "I'll Make a Man Out of You," which is such a great song.
Every time it comes on, my wife always makes sure that I hear it, because I will sing every lyric. I will move to the song. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite Disney tunes, full stop.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Anyway, so good.
It's phenomenal. And that track, when, as I noted earlier, when she cuts her hair, when she's getting ready to leave.
Yep.
I love that track so much. I'm just going to fully admit this at the risk of mockery, but I listened to it fairly often on my way to play hockey. That's how much I love it. Like
Ooh.
it amps me up to go play. Like it's a genuine pump up song for me. Like
I think
Yeah,
that's
it's great.
great.
like
I don't
love
think
it.
there's any shame in that, nor should there be, or mockery. But I mean, I get why you said that. But
I mean, it's
I
Jerry
think that's
Goldsmith. I
incredible.
mean, he's a master, but
yes,
Yeah.
the music's
Oh, man, I love
incredible.
it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
good.
good.
Yeah, it's
love
a
the
beautiful
music.
film.
It's
Mhm.
fantastic. I'm trying to, like, as we talk here, I want to try to get I was trying to find the actual the name of the track, but I can't find it. I don't know. All I know is I love it. All right. So that is
It's a
my number
beautiful
3.
score.
Your number 2.
I was like, that Mulan is such a great pick. I really did toy with having it on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, I had the ones I picked. And one of those for my number 2, I went, we've been talking about secret identity as survival now. We've been talking about it as deception and toxicity. We've been talking about, running from your past and also trying to get divorced parents back together. And for this pick, this is secret identity as a way to lend to anonymity that can lead to romance. And so
okay.
this pick is Nora Ephron's You've Got Mail.
Oh, okay,
And
nice. Yeah.
one of my favorite rom-coms. And I love Meg Ryan. I love Tom Hanks in this. This is a comfort watch. I watch this quite regularly. And I think this is I was going to say a beautiful film. There's also some toxicity happening in regards to, Tom Hanks's Joe Fox. Should he have been more honest with Meg Ryan's character? 100%. And I am never a fan of dishonesty or duplicity in a romance. Putting that aside for a moment, there is something to the effect of to the charm of this, where when you are having an anonymous identity, it allows you in some cases to be your real self, and you can shed the expectations that people have of you and really get to know someone. And so I kind of love that within this kind of silly premise, the film is tackling that, as well as some other things like the loss of your parent, the loss of a job. What does that mean? A place that you've pinned all your hopes on, found family. There's kind of all of these other elements that are rolling around here that I really love. But there is something, I think, tangible to the idea of anonymity as a way to potentially meet the love of your life and allowing it to be, your real self.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this film a lot as well.
Yay.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but what I have always appreciated about this film is how it allows identity to be vulnerable, to be authentic.
Yes.
There's this interesting contrast between how you communicate publicly versus, who you are intimately, when you can do so without expectations or any preconceived judgments. And at the time this film came out, especially through the online space, I mean, that was like a new concept that we were all just trying to figure out and navigate,
Right.
and growing up, it's just interesting to see how that has evolved over the years. And thankfully, at least in terms of, the romantic angle of it, I've never had the opportunity to pursue that through the online space. I've heard nothing but horror stories, although I do
I
believe,
don't recommend it.
I think Brendan and Maris met through an app, so
Oh,
it can
that's
work.
so cute. Yes.
There are
Yeah, I was
examples
like-
of it working, but
I don't recommend it, but yes,
Yes.
having said that.
yeah, I'm sure it's not great most of the time. But look, in the early 90s, whenever that film came out, wasn't quite as tragic perhaps as it is now. But yeah, no, I love how the film navigates all that. It's fascinating. Those characters are great.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Yeah, thank you. And it's Nora Ephron, and I love Nora Ephron, and I
Yeah.
just want to kind of live in her
great.
worlds, which are wonderful.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's great. I love it.
I love it as well. All right, for my number 2, and this is my last pick since obviously I've already revealed my number 1. Let's talk about secret identity as a way of self-discovery.
Ooh.
So this is my spy pick, but again, what I love about this film is that it is less about, at least how it relates to this list. There are certainly plenty of spy mechanics to the film, but the heart of it is about identity. In fact, it is part of the title because it is the Bourne identity. And the Bourne supremacy and the Bourne ultimatum. I guess you can couple them all into one pick because the whole trilogy functions as one large singular movie anyway. But again, what I love about the Bourne trilogy, the Bourne identity, is that it flips the secret identity concept on itself because Jason isn't aware of what his identity even is. In fact, we come to find out that his name isn't even Jason. And that's what's fascinating about the experience of the film, because Bourne and the audience were uncovering pieces about his past as it goes. So the secret identity element is central to the entire trilogy in terms of Bourne and what he is defined by. Is he defined by being the spy? Is he defined by his actions, by his choices, who he is, why they're after him? And so it just becomes a compelling exploration of self-discovery in the middle of this great action spy spectacle that I do think is really great. I love the trilogy. I think it's fantastic. We'll pretend the latter 2 films don't exist. But as a trilogy, I think it handles that concept very well. And I felt okay going to the spy route here because, again, it's less about Jason Bourne the spy. That's almost irrelevant. It's more about Jason Bourne. What is his identity? It's literally the question of the first film. And it's titled that. What is his identity? He's living 2 different lives, but he doesn't know it. He's unaware that he's living this secret life. And the film deconstructs it as it goes, and it's fascinating, and I love it. So my number 2 here.
That's a great pick. I love what you said about it. I haven't watched it in a very, very, very long time. So I think it might be, and I actually, strangely enough, I've never seen the second or the third film. I've only watched the first film. So I need to revisit it and maybe finish the series.
Finish them, yes. I mean, I think the first film, Identity, is unfairly maligned because it's directed by Doug Liman, which, given the context of Doug Liman lately, this might be his Citizen Kane, in all honesty. I mean, he hasn't done great stuff lately.
Yeah.
But I think that first film from Doug Liman, it has a bit of a different flavor than Paul Greengrass and what he would bring to it later. And Supremacy and Ultimatum are often talked about in this superior manner comparatively. I just can't buy that. I think Identity is just as good. Again, it doesn't have the Paul Greengrass touch to it, but in terms of tension and, again, the spy element of it, and I think that worked out very well because the way Doug Liman explores the whole identity crisis of that first film, that is the beating heart of it. The conventional spy stuff really doesn't come until the latter 2 films. Paul Greengrass still continues that trajectory, which is why I include them both here. And they are great films, but I do push back against the idea that Identity is lesser. I don't think that's the case at all. I think all 3 are wonderful though. And again, I love how it kind of flips that spy thing on its head. So it felt appropriate here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a great choice because it also feels different than a regular spy film, of course, because like you said, he doesn't know who he is. And so who are you without your memories? You know, who are you? Yeah, so it is tackling all of that. So I think it's a perfect pick. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that scene in Identity where they're at they go into like this little cafe and he's like I don't know why, but I know there's like 3 people here. I know where the exits are. I know that there's a gun out in that car. It's like, why do I know this? Like it's such a fascinating moment to that film that kind of gets to the heart of this list for me and this pick, because it's like, man, he's living a secret identity and he's clueless. He has no idea.
Right.
And we don't know either. So like
Right.
as the audience, we're also trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we're learning with him,
it's
which
fun.
is which is an interesting thing. I kind of like that when films do that, when you're learning alongside the protagonist. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I've already talked about my number 1. So your number 1 is all we have left. What do you got up at the top?
I mean, your number 1 is a great pick, and not just because it was mine on my list too, but my number 1 is 1988, Mike Nichols' Working Girl, starring Melanie Griffith as Tess McGill.
Love Mike Nichols.
Yes, I do too. And we have Harrison Ford and Sigourney Weaver, and about, an ambitious secretary who is working class, and she's incredibly smart, she's incredibly clever, but because of class issues, she hasn't been able to, and due to sexism, she hasn't been able to be successful and to progress in her career. And so she becomes a secretary to Sigourney Weaver's character, Catherine Parker, who is very wealthy and a jerk. And then when Catherine breaks her leg in a skiing accident, then Tess takes over to take care of her house, and then kind of slips into her life and her wardrobe and starts going to meetings. And so this is a secret identity that's a little different. I feel it's still appropriate because it's secret identity as a way of self-actualization, of ambition, of going after your dreams, because everyone assumes that she is Catherine Parker's role, even though she's still using her own name. But she's using her apartment, she's using her clothes, she's using her clout, her status. And so to me, this is very much still in the secret identity camp, even if it's a little unconventional. But I love this movie. I love the Carly Simon soundtrack and score. I love Melanie Griffith. This is my favorite Melanie Griffith performance. I love Harrison Ford being just effortlessly cool as always, and just so charismatic again as always. That scene where he's like, where he's taking off his shirt and like changing, and all the women and men in the office are like watching outside his office. I love that. Anyway, this is an incredible movie. I love it. And I love Joan Cusack and her supporting role as Tess's best friend. I think this is, because it's Mike Nichols, I feel like this is just such a sharply crafted film. It's really witty, really clever. I think it's got a lot it's exploring with gender and with class and going after the, American dream, and which I very much in my own life now think is very much a sham. But in the 80s, it makes sense that this was such a, pinnacle. But I do think it is asking some really fascinating questions about if we had different access, different station in life, different wealth, different status, what could we achieve? Who could we be if we kind of stepped into someone else's life? And so, yeah, I just love this.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. You're sparking so many different memories, because I have not seen this film in God knows how long, years and years and years. So my memory of it is a little bit vague, but my recollection of it, especially in the context of this conversation, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of it is like the secret identity recipe is built around her trying to reclaim ownership of her work, which I've always find fascinating about that film. Yeah.
Yes. Because that's when she decides to fill in, is when she comes across her boss's files, because she'd given her an idea. And then her boss was like, oh, I pitched it and they didn't want it. And then she sees that in her files, and she listens to the audio of her boss saying, don't go through Tess. And then she's like, she stole my idea and pitched it as her own. Well, now I'm going to do this. Yes. So absolutely. So it kind of also it negates her being the villain in a way. It's because it is about her reclaiming her own identity and her own idea and work. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I do remember liking it at the time, but this would have been college 20 some odd years ago at this point. But yeah, I do remember liking it quite a bit and loving the performances. It being a bit of a surprise movie for me at the time because I primarily watched it because my roommate and I were big Harrison Ford nuts, as every teenage guy is at that time, especially.
I was I was too. And I was, as a girl, not a guy, but yes, I was obsessed with him too.
Yeah. So let's check out this Harrison Ford movie that we haven't seen, let alone and at that time, because I think I would have been like a freshman or sophomore in college. I wouldn't like Mike Nichols wouldn't have been a house name for me at that time. I have grown to love him as a filmmaker and really like a lot of his stuff. But this was probably my introduction to him. If I had to guess, again, it's been so many years, but that I need to give that one a go. But I do remember like being very surprised by it. And like, I'm talking about it as if it's like it was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. So it's not as if it's this small under the radar movie or anything like that.
But you're absolutely right. Like, despite the caliber of the cast, despite the caliber of Mike Nichols, by the way, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is one of the best films ever. Despite all of that, despite its Academy Award nominations, it has kind of been forgotten over the decades.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you mention it, people are like, oh, yeah, that movie. But it doesn't get talked about in the same way as so many other movies do from 40 years ago or longer. And I think it's really insightful. I think it's an incredible film. It's also, I'm not a fan of a montage typically. There are montages in that film that I adore. I think they are incredibly well done. And the way they're paired, the images, the way they're paired with the great score and soundtrack. I think it is a really surprising film, because it's a film I saw as a kid, and then I went and I was like, there's no way it's this good as an adult. And I went back and watched it and I'm like, oh no, I think I might like it even better. So it is one of those films that I think is really sharp and really well done, more so than you might think or that the premise might lead you to believe.
Sure.
But it's a great film. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I'd love to go back and revisit it, right? Because memory is fickle and fascinating, and how it works, of course. But yeah, I mean, my memory of it, like when I watched it, I wasn't the cinephile and critic I am now. I was way more ignorant. I was 20 years old trying to discover film and art. And yeah, so like my memory of it is through that prism, which is why Working Girl, despite all of its Oscar nominations, whatever its reputation may or may not be, for me, it was this movie that I probably wouldn't have sought out despite the Oscar nominations if it didn't star Harrison Ford, because that's just where my mind was at that time. So yeah, I watch it and then it's this really good movie, and it has all these compelling work dynamics and the performances are great. And so, yeah, it surprises you in that way, but I would love to revisit it now, because I do think I'd have a very different experience. I would probably still love the film, but yeah, it would almost be like an entire new experience for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really different, because it's funny watching it when I was younger. I was very much drawn in to the allure of Manhattan and New York City and being like, this is a magical place. This is a place I want to be. I want to go there. I want to live there. I want to absorb it all and just be kind of live in this movie in that way. But then watching it as an adult, I'm like, I still love New York, but I'm like, oh, this is very much about, toxic work dynamics and how awful and sexist things are, which, yes, of course, I know that, but
and that all still exists. So.
All still exists. Didn't go away. So yeah, but it is so fascinating that, when I was young, I was kind of looking at the fairy tale element of it, that she really does become this Cinderella, in the working world, and it's, dreams can come true. And then watching as an adult, I'm like, oh, it's much more sobering. Like
Way more
to the-
sobering.
to the reality of things. I'm like, oh God, the fact that she has to be in disguise essentially just so she gets
Yeah.
credit for her work and get promoted, like that's
Yeah.
absurd. So
Just to take credit for what she did.
right,
Like,
just to take
that's
credit for the
crazy.
work she did. Yes, it's
Yeah. Pretty
wild.
wild.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
a great film nonetheless.
For sure. Honorable mentions. Any other films you have on your list you want to know?
Mulan was an honorable mention, and the only other one that I had, which is very similar to Mulan, Yentl, which is another woman dressing as a man story.
Sure.
So yeah, those are the
Okay.
only two.
I have The Mask of Zorro. Awesome movie.
Ooh,
Awesome
nice.
movie. I
great
recently
movie.
caught up with that as part of my 1998 homework, I believe it was. That film's great. 21 Jump Street, really fun movie.
I need to
Love
see
that.
it.
Point Break I have on my list as well.
Oh, Point Break. That's a good movie.
good one.
That's a fun movie.
The one superhero-ish movie I do have on this list, and I have it here because it's very much under the radar, and it's not at all your conventional superhero movie, but Sam Raimi's Darkman, I think very much
Okay.
qualifies here.
Yeah.
Black Klansman, I have as good honorable mention here.
That is
Love
an
that one.
excellent movie and an excellent pick.
Very
I
good.
love that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fight Club has an interesting secret identity reveal.
Oh, yeah.
Iconic,
You're right.
actually, reveal at the end of
You're
that film.
right. I hadn't thought of it that way, but no, you are absolutely right. Yeah.
How
It's a
about
great pick,
Mrs.
too.
Doubtfire? One of
Yep.
those classic 90s comedies for sure.
That movie just makes me mad, though. It makes
Yeah.
me so angry. Like, it just,
Okay.
that's how he has to spend time with his kids, is he has
Oh, I
to dress
know.
as an old lady. Like, anyway.
Yeah. Pretty,
No, but
pretty
Robin
crazy.
Williams is an utter delight.
Yeah.
Utter delight in it.
Yeah. That film works because of the earnestness he gives to that character.
Yes, it wouldn't work without that. You're
Oh,
absolutely right.
100%. Yeah. And then the last one I have on here is admittedly fleeting, and it's not at all the heart of the film, which is why it's an honorable mention. But I have Tron Legacy here for the
Oh,
character of Tron, which I love. I love the character of Tron. But at the end of that film, there is a secret identity reveal that is admittedly like one of those blockbuster fist in the air kind of moments. And I love
I
it.
haven't seen it, so I don't
Okay,
know.
I
I've
will
only
leave
seen
that
the
alone then.
I've only seen the
Oh.
original Tron, not Legacy yet. So
You got to see Legacy.
I know. Now I got to see it. Now I need to
I
know.
imagine you haven't been on the ride then.
I haven't because I'm a scaredy
because
cat when it
you're-
comes to roller coasters.
No, yeah, you would hate it. You would hate that ride, I think. If you're terrified of roller coasters, maybe
Yeah.
avoid that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is the definition of a thrill seeker for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've stood underneath it while
Sure.
under the ride
gosh,
canopy and
it's so
everything and
good.
seen it.
Oh,
yeah,
I
and I
love it.
love watching it, and I love watching people's expressions because it's so
It's-
wild that you could see
Oh
their
my God, I love
expressions.
it.
But yeah. Yeah.
It's maybe my favorite ride there because I'm a
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
huge fan of Legacy to begin with. And then the score for Legacy, again, iconic as well. And to hear that score playing as you're on the ride,
That's really
I literally
cool.
sobbed the first time I went on the ride.
I
was in
love
tears. Like my
that.
adrenaline was flowing so robustly
Yeah.
that cinematic feel. And also Sam is right next to me as well. So that's part of it.
Aw, I
But
love that.
it was unbelievable moment. Anyway, I love Legacy, love that moment in Tron.
That's
But those are my
incredible.
honorable mentions. If you agree or disagree with anything Megan and I had to say, you can leave a comment below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can hit us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can email us insessionfilm@gmail.com. Although if you're listening on Spotify, you can also leave comments now. That is a thing, it turns out. So you can
didn't
leave
know that.
comments there.
That's
We get
nice.
those. Yeah. All right. So this week, we have a review of Backrooms already up right now. Megan and I have a really thorough, fun discussion on that. Sam joined us for the first 15 minutes or so of the episode. His first R-rated theater experience. That was a great time. Definitely go and check that out. As I also noted, we have a review of I Love Boosters coming very soon as well, so you can be on the lookout for that. And then a new Chasing the Gold at the end of the week, I believe. I haven't heard from Shadon yet, but she always has something up her sleeve, so I imagine that there's going to be something coming soon as well. And then next week, we turn our attention to Masters of the Universe, as I noted. And I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on that. I will probably try to sneak out to a Thursday showing before we get on the plane on Saturday, I believe it is. So I'm gonna try to see it sometime next week if I can fit it in amongst all the Tribeca busyness that I'll be doing. So at any rate, with all that said, I think we can get out of here for this week's show. Be sure to subscribe to the show, all that fun stuff. If you want to support us, patreon.com/InSessionFilm. You can support us there, become an In Session Film VIP. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel as well, or Apple Podcast subscriptions. That gets you access to all of our bonus content as well. We do appreciate all of our In Session Film VIPs. Megan, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Always watch movies, watch more horror, and have a great vacation in Tennessee.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good final thought. I will see you all next week. So thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the In Session Film Podcast.